What's going on, guys? Dusty here, welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we are going over another Destiny 2 build. This is the Stasis Warlock build that I have created for Osmiomancy gloves, and wow, it is brutal, it is powerful. It's gotten me through quite a few tough activities already, and I intend on making full use of it, and again in the future as it progresses, as the season progresses, as the year progresses. I have no intentions of losing this build anytime soon unless Bungie nerfs it. So Osmiomancy Gloves is a exotic that allows the player to achieve an extra cold snap grenade, which in turn lets him use another turret. That's specifically what these exotics is for, what this exotic is going to be good for. However, there is other functions to that exotic if you so choose, like which, from a strategic standpoint. In the end, it's a strategy or a strategic exotic that you want to be using. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's literally just that. So in terms of ad clear, this build is definitely up there if you consistently get your super back at a elevated rate. Another thing that this build is great at doing is generating time, because a lot of builds require you to be fast and hit hard. This build allows you to slow the fight down to where you're not having to move as fast unless, it's like a raid. That's pretty much it. So, without further ado, we're going to hop right on into the build craft for this Stasis Warlock build. Without further ado, this is the Ice Wizard build. Guys, so with this build has multiple features that you're going to want to do. First off, if you haven't done it quite yet and beat the Beyond Light campaign, because it is required to obtain this subclass to begin with. So if you've already beaten the Beyond Light campaign, congratulations, you're already on the first step of obtaining full control over your shade binder. Otherwise, this is what you're going to be running if you have everything that you need for shade binder. First off, we're going to be using Winter's Wrath, which is the super. It's the only super that is provided from this class. I am going to assume that they're going to add another super eventually, but for now this is what we have to deal with. Furthermore, you're going to be running Healing Rift as always, because for most Warlock builds you're going to be running Healing Rift. The only time you're going to be running Empowering Rift is if you ever chose to do a Void class, but you're using Stasis, so you're going to be running a Healing Rift. You're going to also be running any glide that you pick that you feel most comfortable with. I feel best with Balanced Glide, but there are some who prefer Burst over that. And then there's also the of course the only melee that's provided, the Penumbral Blast. Then you're going to want to run Cold Snap Grenade, and you're going to see why in just a moment. You're also going to be running Ice Flare Bolts. But if you're feeling a bit, crazy, you can also run Glacial Harvest as well. With Ice Flare Bolts, you will shatter targets, and freeze more enemies as you shatter them. Um, Essentially, it just spawns a seeker, and then they freeze other targets. Very useful for PvE content, especially in game. You want to also grab the Bleak Watcher. This is what pairs up really nice with Ice Flare. So essentially, charging your stasis grenade, you're going to hold down your grenade button, then you're going to toss it down to the ground, and then Bleak Watcher will appear. With the Bleak Watcher, it fires a turret of stasis energy, and it slows enemies down. Now, eventually, if they get slowed enough, they will be frozen. So this is what makes it very good. You're going to also be running Whisper of Bonds, Whisper of Rending, Whisper of Rhyme, and then Whisper of Refraction. Let's go through these real quick. So, Whisper of Bonds subtracts 10 discipline and 10 intellect, but if you defeat frozen targets, it gets you super energy. Whisper of Rending allows kinetic weapons to do more damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. Rhyme allows you to gain overshield whenever you grab a stasis shard. Very good if you choose to synergize that with Glacial Harvest. Of course, there are some players who, if you're playing with another, player who is running stasis, they could potentially be running this as well. So, either way, you want to run this as a just in case measure, kind of as a filler, because there's not that many more good aspects to use, or fragments. Whisper of Refraction, defeating a slowed or frozen target, grants class ability energy. You want to constantly try and cycle that out to get your healing rift back at a non-stop rate. This will ensure that you're always healing, and this will also ensure that you're freezing multiple groups of ads. Alright, in terms of weapons, doesn't really matter what weapons you use as long as they hit hard. I'm not sure if stasis will synergize well, considering that they count as kinetic weapons. In terms of armor pieces, you're going to be running for your helmet. You're going to be running whatever mod you want. In this case, I'm running Resilience. I'm also running 2 Ashes to Assets because, fun fact, if you get a kill with a target that is frozen by the stasis turret, it counts as a grenade kill, which gives you bonus super energy from that. So it's another good way of getting your super back at a very fast rate. You're also going to want to run Bountiful Wells for obvious reasons. You're going to use that to try and get your super back at a constant rate. You're going to also want to find Osmiomancy Gloves. Osmiomancy Gloves is what will put this build together. This is why you're running Cold Snap Grenades. You get an additional charge, and then they recharge quicker from direct impact. However, you're going to be using these 2 charges for the turrets instead, and this is how you're going to get your grenade back decently quick. Furthermore, Seekers spawned from the Cold Snap Grenade travels farther. Again, you're going to want to run your Resilience mod, whatever champion mods that are available that season, and then you're going to want to run Reaping Wellmaker. After activating a class ability, your Weapon Final Blows generates Void Elemental Wells. This will pair with your chest piece. In this case, again, I am running a Resilience mod on this. Of course, don't know why. At this point, I just swapped it over to Discipline to fix that issue. Now that it's fixed, I can continue. You're going to want to run whatever mod you want for this. That'll synergize with your build. You're going to also want to run any damage resistant mods that are available to you, or reserves. It's really up to you. And then you're going to want to run Well of Tenacity. Picking up a Void Elemental Well reduces the damage you take from combatants for a short period of time. This will pair with Osmiomancy Gloves, allowing you to generate Void Elemental Wells at command. You're going to want to run Stasis Boots. With the boots, you're going to run the following gear. You're going to run whatever armor. You're going to want to run whatever ability armor mod that you want. You're going to also want to run an orbs mod, orbs of restoration, or a scav, whatever scavenger will work for you. Um, Orbs of restoration, pick up an orb of power, grants small energy to the ability with the least energy. So this helps you get your abilities back even faster with orbs of power. You're going to also want to run elemental time dilation, which will pair well with your chest piece and your arms. Then for your bond, you're going to want to run the following. Again, run whatever armor mod suits your build. Then you're going to also want to run whatever the seasonal rotation is for that season. Whatever is good that season, you can run it however you want to run it. Otherwise, I would suggest you running special finisher to get your fire team that extra boost of special ammo that they're probably desperately going to need. Then last but not least, you're going to want to pick up elemental ordnance. This will allow you, whenever you get an enemy kill with an enemy frozen by the stasis turret, that will count as a grenade kill, allowing you to spawn stasis elemental wells, which are going to be useful for elemental time dilation, and they also will probably count towards your glacial harvest buff. So either way you go, it's going to work out perfectly. In terms of weapons, doesn't really matter what you run. I would prefer that you run a kinetic weapon, however, rather than stasis, mostly because from when I tested this, stasis didn't do so well because stasis would count as an element instead of kinetic. I assume when Lightfall comes out, they're going to change kinetic to darkness based. So you're going to have darkness weapons, light weapons, and then power weapons. I think that's how they're going to change the system in Lightfall. But we don't know for sure until Lightfall actually releases. But yeah, so obviously this is kind of what it looks like from my perspective. You're going to want to run... the reason why you see seasonal mods is mostly because the build's versatile. It doesn't really require those mods, but the seasonal mods are just there generally because that's what's being used for that particular season. And I think this build's going to work out very well for some of you. If you guys enjoy this build, it's going to work out perfectly, especially for Glassway, Exodus Crash, and Lightblade for this season. Even though I have not yet completed Lightblade, I am trying my hardest to get it done, as well as getting a solo Grandmaster done. So you don't want to miss that. Without further ado though, this is pretty much it for the build. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.